Officers on the pursuit call. Suspect vehicle was last seen heading north near the power station. Containment will be set up ahead of his last known direction of travel. This call is still code 6. Handle on TAC 3.
Alright guys, so welcome back to another video. Today is the day, or I guess today is the day for you. It might be over the course of a couple of days for me, but we're going to tackle these. This one and that one. We're going to tackle this area today. All the wiring and stuff for the car is pretty much done. As far as like the front goes, windows are wired up. If you've been following the channel, I've done a video on wiring up to the S14 windows, headlights, what else, the dashboard, the digital dash cluster is wired in. All of that stuff is good. The fuse box is in there. So outside of putting in a horn that I'll do in the future, all the wiring from this line forward is pretty much done. And the horn I ain't really too worried about for now. These wires here are the wires that will go back to the tail light harness. So that, I just went ahead and pushed them past this line. I actually got to go ahead and make a second wire for this turn signal to bring back there, but that's not going to take that long. So once we do all that, the first step to this is to simply clean it. So we're going to take a wire wheel to this area. Same thing for the other side. We're going to take a wire wheel to it and then see what the real damage is. What's surface rust, what's not surface rust, and kind of go from there. I have some metal that I got from Lowe's. This is 18 gauge. No, this is 16 gauge metal. So it actually might be stronger than the metal that's in there. The guy that I was talking to about doing this to fix the car, he did his, but he used 18 gauge metal, so mine is going to be a little bit stronger. And the main reason that I'm doing this is because I don't think that this rust is really this bad. I mean, it's strong enough for me to put my entire weight on it. I've done it multiple times. I really think that it's just surface in most areas, but I'll probably patch up holes like this. This hole is supposed to be here. This is the drain for the S14 on the interior, and this is why this is a common spot for rust to build up. On both sides of the seats underneath them, this is a drain for like if water gets inside or anything like that. This is where it's supposed to come out at. So keep that in mind. That's why it's a common thing. It looks like somebody attempted to do some welding or rust repair at some point, but it ain't fully work. So we're gonna clean all this stuff up. The last thing about it is, when it comes to making this work, this is your seating position. Now I know my passenger side seat is fine, so I won't really have to mess with this too much, but I know my driver's side seat has a gangster lean, so I'm probably gonna have to mess with that around the seat bolt locations to make sure that my seats are straight. We're gonna go ahead and knock this out so that I can have this structurally sound again, and then I'll paint all of this and all the metal back there, and the next step will be to put the carpet in. We're gonna start having a full interior, guys. So let me clean up some stuff and then let's get on this. So first impressions with the surface rust removed is not that bad. Now, whoever it is that tried to reinforce this area around the trans tunnel and stuff, it doesn't look the best, but structurally it's all still there. The only places where where the rust is like going through is right there, and in this area, and that's it. So that's why it's still structurally sound. What I'll do for this side is I'll cut out a little square for that piece, cut out a little square for that piece. I'm going to hammer in the metal. I'm gonna cut out a square and then hammer it in so it matches this curve, and then cut that area out, weld it up. And then for this long stretch here, I'm gonna just grind these down so I can kind of clean it up and stuff like that, and that should be good. I know my passenger side seat sits straight, so I don't have to mess with the mount here and the mount there, because it's all, there's no issues. Now I don't know if it's crinkled like this normally, but as long as my seats are straight, I'm cool with it. The driver's side is definitely going to be worse than the passenger side, but we'll see when we get to it. It's a whole lot of rust dust up in here, but as far as I know, and I've been on this car for 4 years, this and that are the most rusted areas on this car. So it's a pretty solid shell. That's pretty cool with me. So let me get started on measuring some stuff out for the cuts. Alright, so this is just a note for people to kind of like keep them from making the same mistake. So I cut out the first area, that's fine. You can see the frame rail there. I cut out the second area, but as you can see, I had ended up cutting the fuel rail. So this one I cut off completely. The actual cut is right there. Let's focus that. There you go. That's the cut that I made when I was cutting the actual metal for the floor pan, but I just went ahead and cut it off because I'm going to patch this with a compression fitting. So I cut that one, I cut that one, and these two just got nicked a little bit, but they're still holding. They don't have any fluid leaks or anything like that. So I know one of these is the fuel rail. I'm not sure if these are the return and the feed lines for the fuel, but it's definitely fuel. As you can see, it's still in there. So if you do cut the lines, hey, you know, I'm glad you watched this video, because I'm gonna fix, or you know, tell you how to do a temporary fix. And it's basically using these. You gotta get the right size though. So I got the wrong size for the big one. It's actually one size bigger than this. This one will probably fit this. And what you do is you'll cut it off like so, and then you'll just put a compression fitting on there. These are sold by the hardware, not the hardware stores, by like O'Reilly's and stuff like that. I think it's like $4, and it'll hold. They use these to patch brake lines, which have more pressure than the fuel pressure lines, so you should be fine with these. And with brake lines being corrosive, it should also withstand that as well. So for demonstration purposes, we're under the car now. And oh, first off, let me correct what I said earlier. So I only, come to find out, I only cut one fuel line. One of the ones that I thought was like a brake line or something actually didn't get cut. All right, here we go. So this one is the brake line. It's the smallest one. This one and this one, the two next to each other, these are the fuel lines. That last one up there, this is for your fuel evap. It's actually not connected to nothing. I followed it all the way up to the engine bay. It's not connected to anything, and the car's been running fine. So I think I'm gonna just leave that. The fluid and stuff is coming out of this one. This is the fuel line that was cut. This other one, I just nicked it, but it didn't actually go inside or anything like that. So first thing, take one of these, cut that line. I'm gonna cut a section because this is where the cut is, this is where that's cut, and then I'm gonna use a compression fitting. This is a 5/16 compression fitting. You basically just get that on there, move it all back, boom, and then you take the crush washer, slap that on there, and what you will do is the middle piece, this one, is going to pop on here and stop. It's going to stop right there. This piece is supposed to be in here, and then you pull this up and tighten it on there, and that will essentially crush that little washer onto the line. Some people, they use Teflon tape on this washer just to be safe. You don't have to, but I'm gonna do it just to be safe because I ain't trying to do it again. and then you connect the other side the same way, and then boom, it's been fixed. You can do the same thing with brake lines. So let's fix this, and then I'm back at it. All right, so a little bit of time has passed. So the thing that's probably gonna be, and I've had this before, the thing that's gonna constrain this video is my tool set. I have battery powered grinder and cut off wheels and stuff, and the batteries on the DeWalt ones suck. You could cut, I think when I cut this first square and that second square, by the time I was mostly done with that second square, the battery was like heat soaked and done, and I had to put it on the charger. So that's how minimal working ability I have. Now I have 3 batteries, but at the same time I can still only do so much at a time. So it's the next day. All the batteries are recharged. I've been grinding down some of this stuff. So the good news is that a lot of the stuff that looks like this is actually solid metal. So the previous owner, when they went to reinforce this chassis, this is what they did, and they did do a good job at reinforcing it. However, it's just ugly. I mean, it's disgusting. Now granted, it is going to be under the carpet, so it doesn't need to be perfect, and I realized that as I was grinding it down, because this stuff was taking forever. Like, this is awesome. This is after maybe an hour of like me grinding, and I blame most of that on the tool set, but still, this is how many different spots it is, so on and so forth. Like, it used to look like that, and now I've been trying to grind it flat, and it's just nah. But as for this area, there are no rust holes here. The only holes outside of the ones I've cut out are in this spot. And if I put this light here, there you can kind of see it shining through a couple times. So what I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna try to weld up those holes in addition to welding in plates for these, and I'm also weld up this hole, and then that'll be that. I've grinded down the biggest bubbles from the previous person's job, so I think after I weld up that area and weld in some plates, then I'll go ahead and just get this stuff ready for paint. I'll wire wheel it all down a little bit more, and then paint over it, primer and paint it, and we should be good for this side, and then we'll move on to the other side. So let's do that. So this is the passenger side, the results of the passenger side. I still gotta grind this stuff down. I don't know if I will or not, seeing as though this whole thing is covered by the carpet. I'm not really keen on the purpose of grinding it down so that it all looks flat, because as far as the seat position, that's the only thing I'm worried about. Seat position on the passenger side is straight, and I want this to be as structurally sound as possible. All of these welds are pretty solid and all the way through. I don't think I'm gonna grind it down so that it can be flat and all that stuff. I think I'm gonna leave it like this. I'm gonna grind off all the surface rust before I paint it, like in these areas. But for the most part, this is as good as it's gonna get. In this area up here, as you can see, there's still some pieces that's not welded, specifically right there on the left. I've come to find out that that isn't metal. On the chassis side, I don't know what it is. It's like a silicone or something like that, but I can't weld to it, so that's why I haven't connected it there. But structurally, I got this whole side, and it comes all the way down. It's still connected over there, so on and so forth. It should definitely hold for a long time, especially with the painting and everything like that. So I'm gonna leave this with the passenger side. I'm gonna do the driver's side, and then I'm gonna paint them, and then we gonna move on. I'm gonna leave this video off here. There's a little bit of a skip on the driver's side. As you can see, there's carpet in there now. Once I finish the driver's side, after that clip of it with the seam sealer and the primer, I painted it yellow just like I did the passenger side, and then I went on to paint the back of this area yellow as well, all the way up, so that it can look a little bit refreshed, up to date, however you want to call it. And then I put the carpet in. The carpet is actually from a blue interior S14. I got some black, or not super black, but just some charcoal fabric dye, and I dyed it so that it kind of looks a little bit newer, refreshed. But I bought this carpet locally from a guy that was parting it out. It was actually in really good condition, so I just got it, cleaned it out, dyed it, and put it in here. I got a replacement center console for the one that I had, which is that one. Difference between the two mainly is this one is cut up there. I had cut it for more clearance back here because of the shifter relocation, but the biggest thing was I had completely cut out the bottom so that I'm not able to mount it properly. And the one that I have now still has a bottom, and it came with that cool carbon fiber delete plate right there. There's another one for the shifter area, but I have to trim it for the actual shifter. So this one actually has the mounts. However, due to the shifter relocation being so far back from the normal area, I had to push this back, and in order for me to actually hard mount it, I'm gonna have to make like a plate that comes back to these holes. The actual mounting point is like right here, so it's either drill a hole, get longer bolts, or make a plate that connects to the original mount hole and then just connects to these two as well. I also painted this gloss black to match the dash and stuff. All that stuff's dirty from all the work that was being done, but there's that. And I still got to put the glove box back in, wrap the door cards, and basically just fill in the rest of the interior, get all the B pillars and stuff back so it can start looking like a car again. But this is the first time I've had carpet in the S14 since I've gotten it, and I am very proud of that. The last thing I'll put is the seat bracket. So I did have to buy a driver's side seat bracket for the S14, or just for 240s in general. And this is solely to make sure, because I remember when I was talking about it earlier, the passenger side is fine, but the driver's side had like a little gangster lean with the seat. I think that it was a mixture. Actually, no. I think the seat rails on the stock seat is just warped or bent or something like that. These are the OEM rails. And when I put this in, it didn't really have a gangster lean like that. So I just kept it while I was doing the welds and stuff to make sure that I wasn't changing the location of the position of the seat, giving it more angle or something like that. So I do have a seat bracket for this side. And when it comes to getting the driver's seat, all I have to do is just order the seat. Since I'm going for the NRG ones, they actually come with the side mounts, so it'll really just be order the seat and bolt it up to this. I do need to get more hardware though. I only have 3 bolts for this side and no bolts for that side, so I do have to get hardware to bolt it down. But outside of that, that's good. And as far as the interior goes, it's just the seat setup, the brackets, the side mounts, and the seats themselves. And then I want to get a yellow harness bar to kind of give me the look of how I want it to be when I go for the cage. The cage is going to be yellow. That's why I painted this yellow. So I'm gonna try to get a yellow harness bar so I can get me a harness with those seats and then install that. And that'll pretty much be it. The harness bar, the harness, the seat setup, and yeah, that'll be it. I'll just clean off the dash and button up all the stuff that I got going on, like rewrap this now that that's installed, and change the screen on the power tune dash, and also change the mounting location because it's on a little bit of an angle. Stuff like that I'll go ahead and start knocking out now. And of course, like I said, the door panels, they're going to be wrapped in the black crushed velvet, just like the rest of the interior pieces. So we got a smaller stuff to do, but it's actually looking like a car now, and I am loving every bit of it. But this video is mostly about the welding stuff to get that rust repair back to what it was. So I'm going to leave it at that. And for the next video, I'm not 100% sure what I'll be doing for the next one. It might be the tail light build, since that's the next biggest thing. I don't see myself having the seat set up and stuff like that anytime soon. So it'll either be the tail light thing, or I'll just do something along the lines of the interior, but you guys will know. I'll keep you updated well, not really, I'll just post it. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. So I'll just say like, comment, subscribe, follow the build. Until next time.